Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. I'm Beatriz Mourad, and today I'm joined by John McKenna.
Hi, everybody.
And Steve Zec.
Hello.
Today we will be discussing the 1-hour premiere of DC Superhero Girls that aired on Cartoon Network on International Women's Day. You can find out more, You can find out more about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes or on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. So yeah, this is a special that aired to premiere the show. It's like 4 episodes slammed into one. They're all called #SweetJustice. And yeah, I just want to get into it because there's a lot to cover. So tell me, give me your general thoughts. John, did you like what you saw?
It was enjoyable. I have to admit, I did kind of groan a little bit when I realized the title was #SweetJustice. I'm like, oh no, is this what adults think kids are talking these days? I admit it's very zany. The animation's very sort of loose and limber, which is kind of nice. It's a show that right now it doesn't seem like it's taking itself too seriously, which is good. You want a little comedy, a little levity. I thought the voice actor was very good. I thought the animation was pretty good. I like Babs. I thought she was really funny, very energetic. A lot of the characters do play off well each other, which is a good start. Some moments I thought were a little kind of squirrely. Like there are some things I sort of rolled my eyes at. There were some things that were played for laughs. I was like, this is too corny. But it's off to a good start. And I'm not that big of a DC fan, but I still had a fun time watching it. So points for that.
Cool. Steve, what about you?
I enjoyed it. As you may or may not know, I've seen like the old DC Superhero Girls stuff, and I've seen all the shorts here. So I definitely had high expectations going to this one. I was worried though when seeing these shorts to promote the series that this was pretty much going to be the Babs show. But I'm pleasantly surprised that this was as much like Barbara's introduction to these new characters, very much Diana's introduction to new characters as it was Barbara. So, you got to maybe 2 co-leads. I'm cool with that. And because I fear that, because I've someone who saw the Lauren Foster previous works when she worked on season 1 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, that was like completely the Twilight Sparkles show. And it really didn't become ensemble until after she left. And I was worried this was going to be the same thing here, but so far it looks pretty good. I love the voice cast. I recognize so many of these voices. I mean, it's kind of cool. You have like Nicole Solomon as Supergirl. You had Kari Wargring as Zatanna. I don't know how many of the others yet.
Will Friedle coming back.
As I know him. I'm talking about the girls.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know Tara Strong, of course, is and Gray Griffin, who voiced Wonder Woman original, but she does a completely different voice for this Wonder Woman, her version of this version. And Cree Summers also as her mom. I'm just rambling, but I just really liked it. And the villain at the surprise was a nice, pleasant surprise. And I kind of liked the little twist they're doing there. I get into more of that later, but I really liked it. So.
Well, I mean, we could get into it now because that to me. I mean, well, let me first say what I thought about the show in general. I thought I was very impressed. And you need to understand, everybody. I'm coming off of this after watching and podcasting about Marvel Rising, which is completely different age demographic. I think. I mean, there might be a little kind of overlap. But
you think older or younger, do you think?
I think older. Marvel Rising is much more older. I mean, and look when it airs. Marvel Rising's aired at 10 p.m. and this aired at 6 p.m. And Disney and this aired at 6 p.m. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely Marvel Rising was older audience, but it's the quality of the animation for DC Superhero Girls was from like a network. It seemed like they actually wanted the show to succeed. Mm-hmm. And they also it just flowed really well. I think the strength were the characters. Everyone had their own personalities well established. Each one had their flaws presented and it fit their personalities. They've had their own motivations, and there's the reason why they decided to join and the reasons that each of them came together were different, distinct, and established and made sense for the characters. So I really did enjoy that. And Babs, at times for me, it was like a little bit like, sometimes she was great. And other time, like there were certain moments when she was like slightly grating, but for the most part, I think she was solid. Like she's the Genki girl, that's what she is.
Funny, I like Babs more in this premiere than in these recent shorts for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it's longer, so it's not so.
It's definitely longer because I think because there were shorts for the show because the show's originally a web series and it's been on for like years. And then now it's this rebooted for the TV.
Oh, I'm talking about the shorts for this version. I was confused. You're talking about shorts. I mean,
Yeah, but and then as promotional material, they made these like very short animated shorts for the show, and I think it's just because they were just it was condensed. So obviously you were going to get the most extreme version of each character.
Can I add just one thing though? It's nice to have like a comedy DC show on Cartoon Network with actual likable characters.
I mean, I haven't seen Teen Titans Go. I've seen the Teen Titans Go movie.
You know what I'm referencing there. You know what I'm trying to take a shot.
So, I mean, it's fine. But yeah, so I really, there was just, this show I think was, I just think it's refreshing that we're actually seeing a show that is female focused being invested. Like there's actual investment happening, and it's actually a show that seems like they want to succeed.
So I'm not sure why I feel about the very end. We had those like Girl Scouts showing, and they're girls. I'm not sure we needed that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So we open up the show with basically with Lex Luthor and his little sister Lena. And I think what's really important, he basically tells us we're in Metropolis. There's like VR or whatever. But what's important is that we get this like image of like, he does this like little like commercial thing. And then we get this image like breaking news. And then it's like talking about this Wonder Woman character. They're like, who is Wonder Woman? And what I think is really important about this is that it establishes secret identities. And this is going to be a big gripe for me later because it's like, okay, the show is like, okay, so secret identities are a thing. Cut to Barbara Gordon's first day of school at Metropolis High. And first thing she sees as she steps out of her dad's car, and granted, she's wearing like bat ears and like,
and her dad is Commissioner Gordon, right?
Right. Yes, that's her dad's Commissioner Gordon. She has the literal Batman logo on. I mean, granted, I feel like in this world, I guess the superheroes have their own comics, so they're like kind of, I guess, celebrity figures as well.
I hope they get royalties for those.
I hope so. I mean, Batman doesn't need them, but sure.
Well, he's rich.
So, well, I mean, he'd know how to like copy. He'd know very well the whole like business of it. He'd copyright it quick. But yeah, so she comes first day of school. First thing she sees are all these girls with no interest of hiding their superpowers, like no interest at all.
Oh, I know. I like that though. I'm not sure though if I think only Babs is the one really trying to keep it secret. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to skip ahead, but in like those two owners of the ice cream shop, I'm pretty sure they changed in front of them. So
yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure if to take it seriously, like a gag, like there's no continuity to that. I'm not sure.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, is that a good thing to like? I mean, it's like in that the show kind of is allowing this kind of gray area to not take it seriously. Basically, did you like John? Were you hung up about this? About like, okay, like why is this like? Were you able to suspend your disbelief and just enjoy what you were seeing?
Honestly, I kind of was, because going into this, I basically sort of took the presumption that given that this is a world in which superheroes do exist, it's probably like, the odd bit of superhero business going on in a high school would probably not faze that many people, probably. And it's like, this is probably a world where, there's high-tech gadgetry, there's crazy gadgetry. Like, remember, we have the LexCorp virtual reality goggles that everybody wears just normally. So what's a glowing green ring compared to that?
Right, totally. Okay, all right. Well, it goes from that to this this little sequence of this giant food fight. And I just want to know, what did you guys think of this kind of introduction to these main characters? I mean, we're a little very vaguely introduced to Wonder Woman, but Babs sees all of them, connects the dots, and is just like, all right, I need to get them all in trouble. And get them to detention with me, and they have this massive food fight. What did you think of kind of this introduction to everybody? Did you like were you able to kind of just kind of get which kind of role each character fit in high school? Like, did you enjoy this kind of introduction, this kind of initial interaction between them all, like being like, oh, this would make an interesting team?
Mm-hmm. I get the roles. I never heard of Zatanna before. She's a very new character to me. I'm not sure she was even in the old one. So, Wonder Woman seemed very much like they're doing like a version of the live action movie. She's just fish out of water. But I really kind of knew for a fact I had a feeling Babs started that food fight in the first place. So it shows she's as wacky as she is very clever. And that's going to be her role in the team. She's going to be more of the brains to balance out the other characters who actually have superpowers.
Right.
Yeah.
And John, did you enjoy this kind of way that everyone was brought together?
I didn't hate it. I thought it felt a little contrived to me, just because it's like, this. How do I make friends? I'm gonna get everyone thrown in detention with me.
Right.
It's like, it's like, really. I think one of the things I noticed when I watched it too, and I realized, oh look, it's a food fight scene. I'm thinking to myself, I see food fights in every cartoon about high school, yet I've never seen a food fight in real life in my high school. Like, does this thing just not happen in the real world?
It's like, in the real world, we actually appreciate, not wasting food. You know?
I paid 50 cents for these tater tots. I'm going to eat them.
We know that that's bad.
In real life, we don't have food fights. We have fist fights.
Well, speaking of fist fights, that's what happens when they get into detention. They basically have this enormous fist fight. Like they all sit down. Then Wonder Woman comes. They are like, "Oh, we found this." The cops are like, "Oh, we found this girl." And Wonder Woman shows up.
Oh, I love how one of them said she's gorgeous.
Zatanna said she's gorgeous.
Yes.
No, Zatanna said she's gorgeous, which was great. I mean, there was a lot of shipping in this.
Oh yes.
No, you don't say.
Well,
there was. I mean, let's just look at Babs. Babs is just completely like in awe.
Fangirling over.
She's pretty much like a Sailor Moon. She's pretty much has crushes on all her teammates, pretty much.
Basically, I mean, the only one who was like kind of chill was like who I think the gayest one of the bunch, which was Supergirl, who, by the way, has been like, of everybody, she's the most like reimagined, I think, for like this from the comics. She's like the most reimagined. Like she's like a punk. She isn't feminine at all. And she's kind of like a rebel. She does not match the Kara from
the TV series.
Not even the TV series, but just in the comic books also.
Or even the original DC superhero girls. I think this is more Lauren's influence, because I'm pretty sure her character, she's supposed to be Rainbow Dash. That's her Rainbow Dash. I think that's definitely Lauren Faust type of influence you see right there. So you need to create a character for this show.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone is a little zany. Has their own quirks, but she's the biggest departure from any kind of other iteration.
I didn't mind that, though, to be perfectly honest, because I do like the fact there is a bit more of like that. You need almost like that. You have the peppy leader, Babs. You got the big strong one everyone looks up to. That's Diana, and you have Kara, who is sort of, again, you mentioned rebel, sort of aloof, sort of away from it all. Has obnoxiously peppy guardians. And I actually did sort of like that. I knew she was different, but I really thought Kara was really well done here.
And voiced by Nicole Sullivan. Shigo from Kim Possible, and she is so much like.
Hold on. What do you mean, Kim? She didn't voice Kim Possible.
No, Shigo from Kim Possible.
Oh my God! You're right. She did voice Shigo.
You didn't know that?
Oh.
Who's Shigo again?
The green lady from
very similar. She also came from a family of superheroes, and she had the same little sassy, rebel attitude. So it's pretty much the same character, only she's a good guy.
Oh,
so
wait, you've just blown my mind. This suddenly everything snapped into focus, and now it explains so much about my kind of zooming in on.
That's only half of it.
Oh, okay.
And that's only half of it because that's easy, but that doesn't distract me as much as for me. It's very hard for me to take away that Zatanna is not Charmcaster. because that's pretty much she has the same powers as Charmcaster.
I don't know who Charmcaster is.
The
So
character from Ben 10. Also voted by Kari Walgreens. She's like one of my favorite Kari Walgreens characters, but it's the same thing. Like I said, these two voice actors voicing similar characters, and that were villains in previous shows.
I think it's fine. They do it well. I really like both of them. And which, by the way, like for me, the ship is Zatanna and Kara. To me, that's my ship.
So it's Cartana.
Yeah, exactly, Cartana.
I'm gonna try. I am gonna try not to ship Babs and Kara because that was my ship in the OVDC superhero girl show. Because I want to try to do something different. So
I'm just saying.
And plus, you can't meld the names very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did shorten them.
I'm sure Dylan would love her.
Okay. I will. Yeah, exactly. Dylan would love. Well, he loves Zatanna like in any iteration, so he'll love her in this one too.
Sure.
I will say for me the highlight of the episode though is when Diana and Kara fight. I mean, we have to like get going because there's a lot to happen. But one thing that there's always like one particular moment in each kind of part. Because again, this is like a 4 episodes squished together into one giant premiere. Every episode has like a moment that I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. This is great. And this kind of captures this very interesting tone that the show has like presented. So when Diana and Kara fight, Kara, punches her through a wall. Then everyone's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Diana jumps back and starts smacking and punching Kara's face into the ground. And that was very violent. I was not expecting such violence for this show. And I love it. I was like, oh, I'm down for this. But I mean, that was one moment that in a way it took me out because I thought the demographic is a little too young for that. But also I was like, okay, so this is why I feel like there's slight overlap with this and Marvel Risings. It's because of like, there were these moments that were just so out there and violent that I was like, okay, this is a lot. Like it reminded me a bit of like Looney Tunes, of Bugs Bunny and that kind of violence where it will go over a kid's head, but when you watch it when you're older, you're like, that's could be possibly interesting. But yeah, so we move on and Babs is like, guys, we got to make a team. And they all have they all were like, okay, we're going to join you. Eventually, everyone decides, all right, we're on board. So they decide to do 2 things. They decide to make over Diana, because Diana is, so I guess like.
Does she even have a secret identity at the beginning? I don't think she does.
She doesn't have a secret identity, but I guess they give her one. They're like, Diana Prince. They were like, all right, which makes sense. So they decide they go into this long like training montage where it's half of it is them teaching Diana to be normal, and the other half is Diana training them to be heroes. And there's what did you guys think? What did you guys think of this kind of, because this does a lot. One, it kind of shows like this kind of fun interaction of girls as being girls and like hanging out. But then another one is you get the character introduction to their powers. You get Diana telling them like their weaknesses. You get you get like their team dynamic and how they have so much to grow from, like that they're not there yet. So what did you think of this kind of large, which is the majority of the episode? What did you think of this and the way it was juxtaposed with them teaching Diana to be quote unquote normal?
I loved it. It did not seem forced. It seemed very natural and did not take away from the episode. It did not seem like any point I'm like, let's hurry up, let's finish this, let's get back to more action. So
right.
Yeah, aside from Diana literally throwing Babs off a building.
Which, again, that's of this, like, part 2, that was the greatest. That was, like, the moment for me where I was like, I burst out laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And I love how, like, Jess is just like, are you insane? Like, I love that there was also the moment of people being like, you're crazy. And there's also the moment of...
How about how Kara took off, like, her shirt, like... to be Supergirl, like I'm to the movies, the old Christopher Reeve movies.
Yeah, that's an iconic kind of moment.
But it was a good way of revealing their powers too, and it gets it into the mindset, puts it in the frame. So it helps with the sort of it made it seem like a nice natural character introduction too. Like it didn't feel like instead of doing the whole expository bit, it's like, so what's your power? Well, I can turn into a bee. What's your power? Well, I have super strength and I can fly. It felt more organic to do it that way versus like where they just sort of threw where they spent an episode maybe info dumping you, for example.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, in a way, but here's the thing. That's what's interesting. You say that because in a way it was an episode info dumping us, but because it was smushed together with these 3 other episodes, it didn't feel like it was just it didn't stand on its own. It wasn't,
they weren't stopping to explain things.
Right. It wasn't supposed to stand on its own. It was supposed to be part of this larger story. So in a way, it's exactly what you say, but they were able to outmaneuver it by making it part of this longer premiere.
Right.
So,
and having it as a 4-episode premiere strung together like that makes all the difference because it allows for that.
Yeah.
It felt like very quick. It did not feel like it was very like long, like they were trying to like fill stuff in together.
Yeah, totally. And I also like how they we're making fun of like the Green Lantern Corps, where they're like, where she just goes like, it's confusing. I can do this. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
The Green Lantern Corps is getting just so much shade tossed at it. This Lego movie, the fan base in general.
But I will say one thing. And this is interesting. In terms of like character interpretations, Jessie Cruz, she's the I think the newest superhero in terms of comic history. She's the newest one. She was only introduced like a couple of years ago. But in every other iteration, the version of her, like, she wasn't a pacifist. She was very anxious. And in this, she was so anxious. She had anxiety that she was too scared to be a superhero. Where in this one, it seems like Karen / Bumblebee, she's the one that's kind of taken the more anxiety role, and then Jessica is more of a pacifist.
And you talk about before how I really see how Kara and Shigo are pretty much like the same. Opposite here with Bumblebee and Jasper. Like, she's not Jasper. The opposite of Jasper. She is not, doesn't sound a thing like her.
Yeah, Kimberly Brooks doing a nice job here.
Yeah. I mean,
or Laura as well too.
I thought it was brilliant that that first scene with Karen where Babs is just screaming like, "Hi!" and she just goes, "I'm Babs," and she goes, "Karen." She just whispers Karen, and it's like, that's brilliant. That's like tells you everything about that character. I just think the writing and in terms of like building these characters and creating these characters is very strong. I've already somewhat seen some people kind of being a little sad and upset that Jess doesn't have the anxiety that she once did. But I will say that we do have an anxious character that's dealing with self-esteem and anxiety. It's just not Jess.
And maybe this is a bit of a slight at towards Bumblebee. Maybe it's because like you think of the anxiety and it's like her special power is she's a bee, and it's like of all that's probably like the least impressive. I even wrote down in my notes like, is she the wasp? But then I realized, wait, nope, wrong universe.
Yeah, I was wondering which came first, like the Ant-Man wasp or Bumblebee.
That's getting into like a lot of silly things from comic books and rivalries that we don't need to get into.
Yeah, good. I'm not really into comic books, so really, I just sort of, you guys are the experts, not me with that.
It's okay.
Me, the expert.
But yeah, so they finish off the day going to the pier, having a good time, and from there, they go to the actual title of the episode. They go to Sweet Justice, which is this
ice cream parlor
shop. This ice cream parlor.
I got a question. The guy at the ice cream parlor, is he a character in DC?
Yeah, he is. He's Flash.
He's Flash. Oh, I thought maybe he was the guy, Wonder Woman's love interest in that movie.
No. He's the Flash.
Because I noticed there seemed to be something from him.
I know, and I'm ignoring it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm ignoring it. So,
thank you for letting me know.
We're gonna ignore that. Again, that's why Zatanna and Kara is the best ship. But yeah, so they go to Sweet Justice, and while this is all happening, we get this reveal of like what I think is the weakest part of the episode. We get the reveal of throughout the episode we see kind of the infiltration of the VR and people acting kind of slow and being like kind of brainwashed. But we see these like robots, the robots from the Luthor Corps, from the Lex Corps, and they're just, they're not scary. They're not they're not intimidating. I was just like, okay, this is all right. And And then we go in, and then they show up basically at Sweet Justice, and they're just like, we're going to demolish you for no reason. And everyone's like, you don't have the right, but they're still going to demolish it, which I appreciate. But what did you guys think of these kind of, you know, mindless robots that are acting as like the bad guys? Like, what did you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming this is like the starter. This is like the starter villain. Like, we're going to get to like the real bad villains later on in the season.
Right.
I guess, you know, it's fine. The stakes are reasonably small. It's, you know, it's just very basic. It's more about I think it was more about keeping the focus on the heroes themselves, because they're meant to, they should be the focus here. We have enough time to get to the villains later.
Mhm.
Having this is just like a blank slate villain for the heroes to beat up and obviously make mistakes and really kind of lose the fight in the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It's like it's World 1, Level 1, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, so they're interesting, I guess. I thought for a moment, though, maybe this was a Brainiac was sort of behind this, because it seemed very Brainiac-less, the way they talked.
No, totally. I think, I don't know. I mean, I agree with John in that it's kind of like a blank slate. It's just there to show, like, it's all there for the sake of the hero. But I just would have preferred the design maybe to be a little bit more intimidating, or, you know, I don't know. I just preferred them using, I know they had they had shown us the VR sets as being menacing for most of the first 2 episodes, that I thought, why robots? Why couldn't we just go with VR? I get it. They want things to punch. That's why.
Yeah.
They want things to destroy. But I was just like, if that's the case, why not just not have the VR? Just have like the robots and make this, you know, commit to the whole like, oh, this is like intimidation tactic by LexCorp instead of VR.
I think because they wanted to show off Barbara's detective skills. So they
maybe, but I mean, her big detective skills was to find that the robots were linked to LexCorp. So that still wasn't linked to the VR. So I was just like, we don't necessarily need the VR stuff to be. I didn't understand why the VR was a thing when we could have just had the robots.
Mm-hmm.
Made it a little easier.
And I guess I think on that point, like when Babs figured out that they were LexCorp robots, and I don't know if this is, you know, cultural osmosis telling that reminds everybody that Lex Luthor is a bad guy, which is assumed. Yeah. But I was like, maybe that clouded my judgment. But when she said it's LexCorp hijacked the robots, they destroyed an ice cream shop, and I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, that makes sense. But everyone's like, why would the richest guy in the world destroy an ice cream shop? I'm thinking to myself, it's Lex Luthor. How is he not a villain by this?
Yeah, but again, they don't.
He's like a kid here, so
yeah, he's a teenager.
And it's like Smallville. He's not like a villain yet, so
yeah.
But I think the other part though, but part of that though is like, I mean, you know, they're LexCorp bots and they're destroying an ice cream shop. You think that the initial reaction would be, why is LexCorp destroying an ice cream shop? Not, oh, these must have been hacked. Obviously, why would he do such a thing? I'm like, but it's like she figured it out for you, and you're acting like.
Well, you know, with that same argument, it's like, why would they believe Babs? Even though it's like, she's part of the Bat family. Clearly they know what they're doing. They're like, well, why would we believe you? Like, it's, you know what I mean? So it's that same thing in a way.
But it's like, you saw the robots attack. You saw the LexCorp badge on the robots.
I mean, she could have just been like, then why is this? They could have been like, oh, maybe I don't know. Again, I don't think this is the greatest villain and the greatest, like, the actual, like, villain hero stories. This one isn't great. So I agree with you that there are holes in it. But, yeah. So, well, as you said, they lost the fight. And Babs is like ready to keep going. And they're all like, no, this didn't work. We shouldn't have done this in the first place. And Diana is found out by her mom and is dragged away by the ear. I also really love the fact that Babs was like, that's your mom? She's like a final boss, which is like great.
That was funny.
That was Babs has some good lines.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the team breaks up, and then we cut to Babs, and we get a huge reveal, which is that the team that she was missing in Gotham, like her friends, her group, as her dad says, her clique, is Harley.
Harleen.
I thought
it was Harleen.
It's Harley Quinn, but it's Harley Quinn. Her name is Harley Quinzel in the comics.
I have to tell you, John, Clark Kent and Superman, I think, are the same person, so.
Oh, man. when I saw Harley Quinzel, I lost my mind. And I love this one shot of Harley where she goes, like, I would do anything. Had I known, I would have done anything to keep you here. And she has this kind of slightly maniacal look. And I was just like, oh, Harley. Harley never change.
I kind of want to know the nature of the relationship back in Gotham. Like, was she like sort of a adversary that they fought like all the time? Like she did like these small, like these petty crimes that she had that Barbara like try to intercept. Did they have that sort of like relationship, or was it just?
I think they were because I think Barbara referred to her as her best friend.
Yeah.
So I think it's like they were just best friends, I think, in high school or something. And then Babs left because her dad moved to Metropolis and took her with him.
I did appreciate that the Harley Quinn they're going with is the Margot Robbie Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, though. I thought she was my favorite Harley Quinn, even though that wasn't the greatest movie to showcase her in. But I still like the design.
I'm nothing makes me happier than how Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn has just cemented herself in all aspects of Harley, where now it's like that's the inspiration everyone takes from, at least design-wise, and it's like kind of great.
It's the most visually interesting, though, too. Like, because you go back to, like, was it Batman, the animated series, and she kind of looks like she should be on a playing card.
Hey, don't talk that way about the OG Harley. Steve, you were saying something.
Yeah, I do like it seems this Harley, she's not, like, evil, like complete, like evil. She seems like a decent person. She might be like a criminal, but she's I don't think it's just like in the original DC superhero girls. Like she might not be like a good guy, but she's likable. She's not she cares about Babs. I don't think she's like a bad, like evil, maniacal person. So
I think she's I think she was the perfect choice for the necessary villain for this type of show, which is they need a villain that's likable, and they need a villain that you could root for, and that's still somewhat friends with the hero, and that they could like have these wild adventures where they're against each other. That could be slightly antagonistic, but at the end of the day, they can laugh it off.
So get for why that Babs and Harley's relationship is could be like a sort of moon boon type of thing, like.
No.
I'm talking about when we first met, that one episode, that 2 episodes when Kitty was sort of an enemy, like, you're friends with the enemy.
No, I didn't see, like, I feel like Kitty's a completely different, and I know enough about Harley, it's like, no, that's not, I don't see that. No. But, sorry, shot down, but no. But yeah, so basically after this lovely little thing, Babs just gets it together and brings the entire team together to be like, look, I get it. You guys are mad at me, which I don't understand why they were mad at her. Everyone was like, we're mad at you. And it's like, why? What did she do? She just suggested it was LexCorp, but then everybody decided not to, amicably decided this doesn't work. So I don't understand why they were mad at her.
She's mad about the food fight. She started a food fight in the first place.
I guess because she was the one who initiated everything in the first place. But yeah, so she goes like, look, don't do this for me or for the world. Let's do it for Diana, which was very sweet. And they go off and we get the team versus the Amazons, which obviously was great because they stood no chance against the Amazons. I think the only one who stood a chance was Supergirl, and it's just funny how they took a mountain of Amazons to just keep her down.
Ooh, I love the arm wrestling bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. And then we get this moment with Diana and her mom, Diana being like, no, I deserve to be here, whatever. And they stay, and then we get cut to them looking at the pier where the robots have arrived, and we get the reveal that it wasn't Lex Luthor after all, it was his little sister Lena Luthor who was behind everything. So
got thoughts on that?
Tell me those thoughts.
I felt here what we going here was a reverse Codename Kid Next Door. It's here the teenagers are the good guys and the kids are the villains. It's a role reversal from what KND was about a lot of times. That's
we got the bald guy, so we got the bald kid, now we got the bald teen, so it fits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of realized it was her the moment that they first showed the back of her on the computer, because I was like, why wouldn't they just show Lex? Oh, it's clearly his sister then. I thought it was a weak plan, but she's a child, so I'm like giving her a little bit of like.
And they called her out on it too.
Yeah, they were like, "You're a child. This is like ridiculous," which is like they admit to it. It's just my own. This is the point where it got the most juvenile for me, and it fits because she is a child, so it's like okay, it makes sense. She's purely there because of demographic reasons. What did you think, John, of the reveal, of her plan, of just Lena in general?
I did like the twist that Lena was going to be the villain of the day rather than Lex, because having that little element of surprise in there, it keeps it from being just another sort of rote DC type story, which Lex Luthor is the villain, obviously. So it's refreshing. It is different. And I did sort of like the just childish nature of the whole plan. It's delightfully stupid. It's like teenagers are having too much fun, so I'm going to destroy everything that teenagers like having fun with. It's so pants on head crazy that it actually was really, really funny. So I liked how she was operating. I liked her, the giant robot. I liked how I liked how when they finally defeat her, she just sort of like hauled by her mom and thrown in the back of the car, which is great. And it does sort of paint a light on the relationship between Lex and Lena. It's not quite totally love, and you can see why she wanted to get back at teenagers, because her brother is a bit of a jerk, I guess. So it's not a particularly serious villain. I don't need it to be a particularly serious villain right now. But it was amusing. We saw the heroes come together. They had the plan. Everyone had their roles. Diana had her job. Babs had her job. I guess the fact that they could destroy it by plugging an amp into the robot and Kara playing a quick riff on an electric guitar, that was a little. I'm like, oh, you know what? Fine, whatever. I go with it. It's fine. I'm not going to question the intricacies of the plot or the meritocracy of destroying a villain with essentially a Gibson Les Paul Fastbender. I don't care. I do like the Luthor family dynamic, and it kind of could be interesting because it's, if Lex is going to be a villain in the future, we could have these three-way little conflict between our heroes, Lex and Lena. Sometimes Lena would help Lex because they're both evil, but sometimes she might backstab them.
Would she
No. I'm just saying she might be reluctantly help him, and then later on she's sabotages him, helps the heroes, or maybe Secret tries to help the heroes, but she's planning to backstab them, and Lex could do the same thing with her evil schemes. It could be this whole back and forth of who's going to backstab who first between those two.
Gotcha. And let's talk about that one little moment that I think, Steve, you were the one that mentioned it, that once they did save the day, there were the shot of the Girl Scouts being like, and they're women too, and they're girls. I think it was you. You had thoughts on that moment?
I just said, I'm not sure it was needed. You can just say they're heroes, and it's just simple as that.
Gotcha.
It was stating the obvious, basically.
Right. I mean, I will say, I think they knew that it was going to air on International Women's Day. And I think they were just like, all right, this is going to be the moment where we're going to have and they're girls. They're great. And I guess also it was a way for them to incorporate the whole, they're superhero girls, where everyone starts chanting it. Because I think that's just also I understand why they kept the name because of branding and the established web series. But I kind of was like, I don't think this name is the greatest.
Well, this show, though, is more represents DC superhero girls than the original, because the original was just about a hero school, and I don't know, so the title made a little less sense. So here, at least, it makes a little more sense that it's clear that the heroes are going to be all females.
Gotcha. I mean, I thought the moment was cute, and again, is it a little obvious? Sure, but it was. Given the day it aired, and it was there was a reason, they knew it was going to air today. That was a choice they made. And given, the whole, I don't know. I thought it was for little girls to see that, I'm like, great.
That's awesome. It was thematically resonant.
Right, exactly. So it made sense, even if it might have potentially taken us out. It's like it is necessary, unfortunately.
Also like if let's say the audience is like 8 to 13 year olds, and it's they want it to be like a more girl centric audience. It's like, you know what, reinforcing the point for them is probably more important than reinforcing the point for us.
Yeah, especially given, and I mean, it also shows like how much, I guess, Cartoon Network has grown a little bit, because I mean, this is the same place that that was rumored to have canceled Young Justice in the first place, because it was very popular with girls and not as popular with boys. Yeah. So
though at the same time, this was a network that, quite interestingly, in like the early 2000s, when they went to like sort of the cartoon model, their big thing was, that big model for them was like, this can advertise to older people, and we can get a lot more girls interested in cartoons by doing that too. So they have a history of catering to the female audience. But
there's also the same network that could not come up with an Alana figure to sell, and because of that, they canceled Symbionic Titan, and I still never forgotten that. I'm never forgetting CN for that. So yeah, basically
it's a complicated history depending on the age demographic, because I feel like the more serious the show, the more they want boys to listen in, I guess, and the more lighthearted, the more they want girls. I don't know.
I think the thing you can say about DC Superhero Girls and Malicious Seriousness is this is a serious show, but it is a fun show, and I think you can have both of those things working at once. Like, this isn't Young Justice, this isn't Batman the Animated Series, but it's also not Teen Titans Go either, and I think that's a good balance to strike.
Better than that, but though I still have a feeling that we might get a crossover with them.
Maybe, but that would be in a more kind of
season 2, season 3.
Yeah, but I don't mind. But like or not, Teen Titans Go is like their top show, so it would actually beneficial to this show to get that rub. So,
but again, I'm just saying, if they do crossover, it would be more of a given crossover of the tone of Teen Titans Go and their character design, them showing up, not just their characters, but them. The Teen Titans Go version of them, I think it would be more in an episode that isn't actually very canon. Like any other crossover show and any other cartoon, they're not really that canon. They're just, they're just there for the sake of that. For
you have to assume you're gonna have to assume it's not canon. But right now we can't really say it needs a Teen Titan Go sort of run.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Let's see how it does now before you start thinking about ways of.
But they also started planting the seed already that the fact that Barbara has this rivalry with Robin, so.
Which is fine, yeah, but I think that has more to do with Rob. No, but I don't think that has to do with Teen Titans Go, and that has more to do with DC. Yeah. To make the assumption that they're only doing that because of Teen Titans Go is to assume.
I'm not
it's
saying
way
that.
too much assumption.
I'm just saying though, it's they opened the door for it.
I mean, but that's they opened the door for it by having it be a DC show.
Yeah,
that has nothing. I don't think they opened the door. That wasn't intentional. Ooh, we're gonna say this because Teen Titans Go. No, I think
it's it being a DC show means it's open to pretty much any DC hero popping up for any reason at all.
Exactly, and I don't think if say Robin showed up or say Starfire showed up. Any Teen Titans character showing up, I don't think that necessarily means, yes, this is because of Teen Titans Go. It's because it's a DC show. So, I wouldn't give Teen Titans Go that much credit. But yeah, so let's wrap up by just final thoughts. What final thoughts about the show? I don't know, and throw in who's your favorite of the group.
Okay. My favorite, I don't know. Part of me probably said Zatanna because I love magic stuff, and like I said, I love Charmcasters from Ben 10. But I don't know. I think maybe Jessica might be top notch because I'm also a person who loves her attitude, being sort of a pacifist, and I love Supergirl too. But I'll just go with Bumblebee for now. So. Oh
wow! So you went with this, and then you're like, you know what? No, I'm gonna go with a completely different person. Okay.
I love them all. I can't help it.
That's fair. Again, they established them really well.
I'm gonna go with the underdog redemption story of this. I'm gonna go with Jess because I thought she was a bit muted, and although I thought she was a bit muted, I didn't think she was the best member of the team. I would love this show as one of its little mini sort of B or C plots to be restoring the dignity of Green Lantern back because that it gets ripped on so much, it's time for Green Lantern to finally stop being a joke and finally become a, cool member of the DC family.
John,
so I'm rooting for Jess.
Well, John, I got some good news for you, though. Episode 3 is might do that. Episode 3 is gonna be a Jess episode. So,
well, that's something to look forward to. But yeah, I mean, trying to regain the Green Lantern fame is a big ask, John. Is what I'm saying.
I know, it's a big ask. It's like, but hey, you know what? Aquaman got redeemed. Why can't Green Lantern?
Yeah, true. I mean, will Jessica Cruz be the Jason Momoa we need? Is the question. Will she be that? I really enjoyed the show. I'm excited for more. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. There are certain moments that I think can be improved on because I don't see juvenile and fun to be the same thing. So when I say the less juvenile, the better, I'm not saying the darker, the grittier. I'm just saying the more intelligent the storytelling, the more I like it. So I guess what I'm saying is get better villains, and then maybe I'll like it better.
Beatriz, I have a question. How much has your opinion changed of this since you saw the short when Teen Titans Go movie? Compare how you felt then and now.
Since Teen Titans, I didn't know this existed when I watched Teen Titans.
No,
Go.
that was the movie. Teen Titans Go to the movies. They did a short to open up. You didn't see.
Oh, I did see it, man. I completely forgot about it.
So
to be
definitely
honest.
big improvement. Must be. You already gave the answer that you must feel much better than you did back then.
I guess, yeah. Because I mean, when I first saw it, I thought and when I first saw certain things, I just thought they were. When I saw the web series, I wasn't too impressed by it. And again, I thought it was like Marvel Risings. So you need to understand, I was just so burned by Marvel Risings. I just refused to give any other show a shot because I was like, I will not put myself through this again. And it's nothing against the actual team and crew that worked on it. It's more of why didn't anyone give them more money? That's my thing.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that, and there were lines in the animation that weren't connected. I'm like, this looks. It's how can I didn't think Marvel could make something that cheap.
Yeah,
and
also,
it's and I feel bad that the first Avengers movie pretty much killed the first Avengers cartoon, which I really liked. And
Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Yeah. That was a really solid. That was the best the best Marvel animated show, and they killed it.
To get to the point you said you hope it's less juvenile and more fun. I think
it's more. I need it to be more fun. I'm just saying that I want it to be less juvenile, but that doesn't mean I want it less fun.
So right, I know what you meant, and I was gonna say I think the key to that, and might be the big strength of this show, is that it's Lauren Faust is at the head of it. This is someone who took My Little Pony, which was a toy for little girls, and made a surprisingly deep, well-liked TV series out of it that's still somehow going. Yeah. So if everyone can follow the make it less juvenile but keep the same level of fun and have that level of depth and intelligence, it's probably her.
Oh yeah, yes true. Indeed. You guys would you mind if some episodes are more slice of life and we don't actually fight a villain?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's my position on slice of life is that if it's not going to be action focused, that's fine, but it needs to be character driven. It still needs to be if it's going to focus on just a typical day for a character, it still needs to be it needs to be worthwhile. Mm-hmm. So that's my position on slice of life.
Right, and also, and you can't have all action all the time. I would like them to get a little bit more into each character. Maybe give each character go to their house for a sleepover, and we learn about their brothers and sisters.
I want to see more Kara's parents.
Yeah, they seem like they're bad guys. Sorry, I'm making that assumption now. There's parents? Something wrong with
Kara's
them.
parents.
No.
Yeah,
sure?
they were acting a little bit too robotic. I'm like, someone's
gotten
hold of them. Not that they're robots, but they're acting too strange to be human.
Well, they stole Timmy Turner's parents' car, so...
Yeah, they did. So I'm just
in the previous versions, didn't the Kents adopt her, or...
No, she was always with them, and in previous versions they weren't that strange. So
but in the previous DC superhero girls, she
It goes back and forth. Sometimes she's with the Ken, sometimes she's with
the
But
you know what? Integrate the slice of life stuff in between like a big action stuff. And also that'll help the action scenes too, because it gives a lot more grounding, a lot more foundation, so that the action scenes will pop up way more than that. Yeah.
So that's bring on the slice of life. Just make it matter. But yeah, you can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Katrin, aka Katrin. And thanks, as always, to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Hugh. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.